When that man in the Italian suit spilled hot coffee on my hand and didn't even look back, I smiled. And that was exactly the moment he lost everything. My name is Helena. For 6 months, I cleaned bathrooms, emptied trash cans, and mopped the glass floors on the 23rd floor of a corporate building. No one ever asked my name, and that was exactly what I needed. I started working there at the end of March. The company was called Vortex Tech, one of those tech startups that grew too fast and turned into a machine of inflated egos. The building was all mirrors, glass everywhere, the kind of place that was made to impress, not to welcome. My shift was from 6 in the evening until midnight. When I arrived, most people had already left, but there was always a group, the ones who wanted to seem more dedicated, the ones who thought staying late was synonymous with competence. On the first day, no one greeted me. I walked in, received a navy blue uniform from a supervisor who barely looked up from her phone and went straight to my cleaning cart. No training, no introduction, just a list of rooms and an all-purpose spray. I cleaned the desks while they typed. I emptied the trash cans while they laughed loudly in online meetings. I mopped the floor while they walked across the hallway without moving aside, forcing me to step back with my bucket. At first, I thought it was just distraction. Busy people, you know? But it wasn't. It was contempt. The first week was strange. I felt like a ghost. I passed by dozens of people every day, and none of them truly saw me. They looked through me, as if I were transparent, as if I didn't exist. There was a situation on the third day that stuck with me. I was cleaning the break room when a woman walked in. She must have been in her early 30s, hair in a perfect bun, manicured nails. She grabbed a water bottle from the fridge, drank straight from it, and put it back. Empty. On the shelf. I was 2 meters away from her. She saw me. I'm sure she saw me. But she simply turned and left. Left the empty bottle there. Because in her mind, it wasn't her problem. It was mine. I took the bottle and threw it in the trash. Without anger. Just registering. In the following weeks, I began to understand the dynamics of that place. There were the interns who were treated like doormats. There were the analysts who lived under constant pressure. And there were the managers and directors who thought they owned the world. There was this guy, Marcelo, operations manager. He always left his desk a complete mess. Stacked coffee cups, snack wrappers, crumpled papers thrown on the floor around the trash can. As if throwing near the trash was good enough. One night, I was cleaning the meeting room when he walked in, talking on the phone. He saw me, made a gesture for me to leave, and kept talking. No, please. No, just a minute. Just a hand motion, like shooing away a dog. I left, waited outside. 15 minutes, 20. When he finally opened the door, he walked right past me without looking. I went back into the room. The table was full of crumbs. Another time, I saw him yelling at an intern. The kid had forgotten to print a report. Silly mistake, but nothing serious. Marcelo lost his mind. Called the boy incompetent, lazy, said he would never get anywhere. The kid turned red, lowered his head. Apologized 3 times. I was cleaning the water cooler. No one noticed me, but I saw everything. And I took notes. There was Renata, too, marketing director. She was the type who smiled at everyone, except me. When she passed me in the hallway, she looked away, as if I were part of the furniture. Something you see, but don't register. One day, she dropped an entire folder of documents on the floor, papers everywhere. I was 3 meters away. She looked at the papers, looked at me, and simply turned her back. Left everything there, because in her mind, I would pick it up anyway. I gathered the papers, one by one, organized them, put them on her desk. She didn't even thank me, just grabbed the folder and left. Renata had a very specific way of being cruel. She didn't yell, didn't curse. She simply ignored. And in a way, that hurt more. Because yelling still acknowledges that the other person exists. Ignoring is erasing. There was an afternoon when I needed to go into her office to change the trash bag. She was in a video conference. When she saw me, She didn't pause the meeting, didn't ask for permission, just kept talking as if I wasn't there. I became invisible while collecting her trash 1 meter away. And there was Daniel. He was the worst. Commercial director, always in an impeccable suit, a watch that cost more than a car. That attitude of someone who believes the world revolves around him. He never spoke to me, but he spoke about me. One night I was cleaning the water cooler when I heard him talking with another manager near the break room. Man, why is the company paying these people? Room 7 was filthy yesterday. I had cleaned room 7. Personally, I had mopped, vacuumed the carpet, cleaned the windows. The other manager laughed. Relax, Daniel. It's cheap labor. Can't expect much. They laughed together. I kept mopping, but Daniel didn't stop there. Over the weeks, I heard more, much more. I heard him complaining that the bathroom sink had watermarks. I heard him saying that these people didn't know how to do the job right. I heard him suggesting that the company should outsource the cleaning to save money on incompetence. And every time I took notes. Date, time, context. There was a day when he did something that really impressed me. Not because of the cruelty, I already expected that from him, but because of the coldness. There was a new girl on the cleaning team, her first week. She must have been about 20 years old. Shy, scared. She was cleaning Daniel's office when she accidentally bumped into a stack of papers on the desk. The papers fell. She panicked, started picking them up quickly, apologizing. Daniel didn't even get up from his chair, just watched, and when she finished gathering everything, he spoke with that calm, icy voice. If you can't do such a simple job without destroying what belongs to others, maybe you shouldn't be here. The girl ran out. I saw her crying in the hallway afterwards. The next day she resigned. I kept cleaning and observing. I had a well-defined routine, but from time to time, I changed it. Instead of cleaning the meeting room, I would spend a bit more time near the desks, watching the screens, reading emails that were left open, listening to conversations they thought were private. No one noticed. To them, I was invisible. I also had a little notebook, small, discreet, always in the pocket of my uniform. Sometimes I wrote things down, names, behaviors, decisions. Once, Renata saw the notebook falling from my pocket. She frowned, but didn't ask anything, just handed it back with her fingertips, like someone touching something dirty. And there was something else. My headphones. I always wore them while cleaning, but they weren't ordinary headphones. They were Bose Quiet Comfort. Expensive. Too expensive for someone earning minimum wage. Marcelo noticed once. He looked, made a strange face, but said nothing. Maybe he thought they were fake, or that I had stolen them from someone. I don't know, and he didn't care enough to ask. I also noticed that sometimes when I cleaned near the screens, I took a bit longer. Read spreadsheets, wrote down numbers. No one ever questioned it, because to question, they would have to notice me. There was a night when I heard Daniel talking on the phone about the company's financial situation. He was worried, talked about tight cash flow and need for external investment. I memorized every word. Another day, I saw Renata printing a resume, hers. She looked around before grabbing the pages, as if she were doing something wrong. Quickly put it in her bag. She was looking for another job. Already knew things weren't going well. And Marcelo? He started leaving earlier, arriving later. He looked tired, defeated, like someone who had already given up but still pretended to care. I saw all of this, and they had no idea. In September, a strange buzz started in the company. Closed meetings, people whispering, tension in the air. I heard fragments, acquisition, international holding, change of control. Daniel was nervous. I noticed because he started yelling more, at the interns, at the analysts. Once, he threw a mouse at the wall because a report hadn't been delivered on time. Renata, too. She started locking her office whenever she left and started taking folders home, something she never did. Marcelo became paranoid, started backing up all his files. I saw him copying documents to an external hard drive, looking over his shoulder every 2 minutes. Something was happening, something big. The rumors spread quickly. I heard them in the hallways, in the break room, in the bathrooms. They're going to fire everyone. They're bringing people from outside. The company is bankrupt. At the end of October, the official announcement came out. Vortex Tech had been bought by a European holding company. The transition would be completed in 2 weeks. There would be a general meeting with the new leadership. The atmosphere became heavy. Half the office thought they would be fired. The other half pretended confidence, but the fear was visible. Daniel spent the entire week on the phone, calling contacts, trying to find out who the new leadership would be, trying to sell himself, save his own job. Renata put together a gigantic presentation. Charts, numbers, projections. As if impressing the new owners would guarantee her permanence. Marcelo started drinking. I saw the whiskey bottles hidden in his drawer, and the smell of alcohol when he passed by me in the hallway. The entire company went into panic, and I kept cleaning. The meeting was scheduled for a Friday, 10 in the morning. All employees were required to attend. I wasn't scheduled to work at that time, but I asked the supervisor to let me do an extra cleaning before the meeting. She thought it was strange, but allowed it. I arrived at 8. The auditorium was already being prepared. Chairs lined up, projector on, coffee break on the side table. At 9:30, I started seeing people arriving. Tense, heads down. Daniel walked in wearing a navy blue suit, trying to appear confident, but I saw his hand trembling when he grabbed the coffee. Renata had a huge folder under her arm full of charts, as if preparing a presentation would save her job. Marcelo was sweating, literally sweating. He wiped his forehead every 2 minutes. I stayed at the back of the auditorium, arranging the chairs. Invisible, as always. At 10 o'clock sharp, the auditorium doors closed. I was outside in the hallway, organizing my cart. Then, I took off the uniform. Underneath, I was wearing a gray blazer and dress pants. Black, elegant. I put up my hair, put on heels that were in my bag, and walked to the auditorium door. I took a deep breath and walked in. The silence was immediate. All eyes turned to me. Confusion, surprise, discomfort. I walked to the stage, slowly, each step echoing in the absolute silence. I climbed the 3 steps. I grabbed the microphone. Good morning. My name is Helena Carvalho. I'm the CEO of Nordstern Capital, the holding company that completed the acquisition of Vortex Tech last Wednesday. The auditorium was in absolute shock. Daniel was pale. Renata, jaw dropped. Marcelo looked like he was going to faint. I continued calmly. For the last 6 months, I worked here, as a janitor, not because I needed to, but because I wanted to truly understand how this company works, not through the numbers, not through the reports, but through the people. Absolute silence. I wanted to see how employees behaved when no one was watching, how they treated those they thought didn't matter, how they made decisions, how they handled pressure. Marcelo lowered his head. I saw a lot of good things. People working hard, people helping colleagues, people who stay late because they believe in what they do. Pause. But I also saw people who treat human beings like trash. Daniel swallowed hard. I saw disrespect, arrogance, people who think position is synonymous with character. And these people, unfortunately, are in leadership positions. Renata closed her eyes. Starting Monday, we will have a complete restructuring. Some people will leave, others will be relocated, and new leaders will take over, leaders who understand that respect is not optional. I turned off the microphone. I walked down from the stage and left the auditorium. No one followed me. Later, I learned that Daniel stayed frozen in his chair for 20 minutes, unable to get up. That Renata locked herself in the bathroom and cried. That Marcelo resigned that same day. and I understood everything that had happened in recent months in a different way. Every time I heard a conversation, I wasn't listening by chance. I was collecting information. Every time I cleaned near the screens, I was evaluating processes. Every time I wrote something in the little notebook, I was documenting behaviors. I wasn't invisible. I chose to be ignored. And they never noticed the difference. Those expensive headphones? They were for me to hear meetings in soundproof glass rooms. I connected to a discreet microphone I had installed in the main rooms. That little notebook? It was my dossier. Names, dates, situations, evidence. That extra time near the screens. I was analyzing financial data, cash flow, contracts, management failures, and all that silent humiliation. It was the final test, to see who truly had character. The woman who left the empty bottle in the fridge? She was reassigned to a position without leadership. Marcelo, who shooed me out of the room, fired for proven moral harassment. Renata, who ignored me, demoted. She's still at the company but no longer has a position of trust. And Daniel? Daniel. He was fired for just cause, moral harassment, creation of a toxic environment, abuse of power. He tried to file a lawsuit, said he had done nothing wrong, but I had 6 months of evidence, dates, times, witnesses, even audio recordings. He lost everything. In the following months, Vortex Tech changed completely. New directors took over, people who had merit, but also empathy. The company culture was reformed. Rules of conduct were created and enforced. We created an anonymous reporting channel, mandatory training on respect in the workplace, and a zero-tolerance policy for any type of abuse. The cleaning team got a raise, new uniforms, and, most importantly, respect. I made sure to know each one by name, to thank them personally, to show that their work mattered. Because it does. I didn't go back to working as a janitor, but I also didn't forget what I learned there. That true power isn't about yelling louder. It's not about having the bigger office. It's not about wearing an Italian suit. It's about knowing when to stay silent. And observe. Vortex Tech today is a different company. Productive, profitable, and most importantly, human. And it all started because I chose to clean a floor. I learned that the way you treat those who can't hurt you says everything about who you really are. It's not about hierarchy. It's about character. And character, unlike position, can't be invented in the moment of pressure. It's revealed in small gestures, in the way you talk to the person who serves your coffee, how you treat the person who cleans your trash, how you act when you think no one is watching. Because someone is always watching. And sometimes that person has more power than you can imagine. If this story made you think, comment below what struck you the most. Like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories.